Okay. All right. So I wanted to kind of share a story with you about something about me that you might not know. I'm afraid to fly. Anybody in here have that same fear? Flying? No? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't like to go on an airplane. If I could drive, I would drive. Okay, so my husband though, he loves to fly, and he knows that I get nervous whenever we take a flight someplace. And so one day he decided he was going to get all this research to try to convince me, persuade me that flying was really a safe thing. So he went on the internet and he did all kinds of research, and he tried to present me with all kinds of statistics so that I wouldn't be afraid. Okay, and it did make me feel a little bit better. But my point is that when we're writing to persuade, when we're writing an essay to persuade our readers to agree with our opinion, it is very powerful to have quotes from experts, to have citations from articles, because that kind of support of our main idea will give us credibility, believability. People will believe us. We will sound convincing. We will sound like authorities. So today I want to teach you that it is really important to annotate a text set as you're reading it so that you can mark down the things that you think would be really good, powerful, persuasive details in your essay. Now, in Reader's Workshop, we have been working on hashtagging. Remember? What did we say? Where's Federico? What did we say, Federico? What does a hashtag do? What does a hashtag do? It sticks the facts together, okay? It shows us how they're connected. And just like hashtags are used in social media, if you click on the hashtag, all of the facts that are marked with that hashtag will appear together, okay? And so we're going to use that same concept from Reader's Workshop now in Writer's Workshop, and I'm going to teach you a way for you to annotate the text using that concept of a hashtag in order to figure out what's important, what's going to make our persuasive essay powerful, okay? And in the process, I think we'll probably identify the main ideas that we want to talk about in that, okay? All right, so put your attention on the screen. If you can't read it, you have a text set in front of you. Now, remember that I taught you the very first thing that you do is you always go and you look at the directions, right? Before you even begin, you want to give yourself a lens for reading, a purpose. Why are you going to read this? And the directions say, the passages you read were about zoos. Write an essay in which you give your opinion on whether zoos are helpful to animals or harmful to animals. Okay, we practiced this the other day with wolves. What would be one of my possible thesis statements that I could have? Jalen?
You could say, with the wolves.
We practiced with the wolves. Tell me what I could do with the zoos.
So either the zoos are harmful to animals or the zoos are helpful.
Okay, so I have two different thesis statements that I could use. Zoos are harmful to animals, or zoos are helpful. And I think for today's reading, I'm going to go ahead and say zoos are harmful. So on the front, I'm going to write down what my lens is going to be. Zoos are harmful to animals. So if you remember the lesson that we had in Reader's Workshop where we said if we can identify the text structure, it helps us to tell what's important. In Writer's Workshop, if we identify our thesis, it can help us to identify the important facts that we want to pay close attention to and use in our essay. Okay, so I'm going to begin reading this first article, source one, which is called Zoochosis. It was the sadness in their eyes that has continued to haunt us. That's a quote from Stephanie Santana and Sean Lucas. Keep animals in zoos? We don't think so. There is documented research that many animals removed from their natural habitat and kept in captivity have developed a kind of mental illness known as zoochosis. Now, my lens is for how zoos are harmful. Well, all of a sudden, I can see that zoos are harmful because they create a mental illness. And the name of the mental illness is zoochosis. And see how I'm annotating the text? I'm writing, I'm underlining, I can put things in the white space, I'm marking it. In a way, I'm leaving myself breadcrumbs, just like Hansel and Gretel left breadcrumbs for their trail. This will help me to walk back and find the important facts that I identified. Okay, so we have this mental illness called zoochosis, which is bad for animals, and it is exhibited when they're in a zoo. I'm going to read on and see if I can find more. Animals with this disease often pace back and forth, twist their necks, bob their heads up and down, turn in never-ending circles, and even tear holes in their own skin. Can you imagine being so miserable that you want to inflict harm on yourself? Okay, so now I have even more information. I have symptoms of zoochosis. Okay, at this point, I have 2 facts about the mental illness, so I'm going to go ahead and use a hashtag. And my hashtag is going to be mental illness. And so every time I read a fact that has to do with the mental illness, I am going to hashtag it. So I'm going to know, like Federico said, this information sticks together. This is the information that would go under that main idea. Okay, I'm going to read on, and I want you to listen really carefully and give me a thumbs up when you hear something else that I can add to this hashtag. Once, when we visited a zoo, we noticed that some of the animals kept in cages were grabbing onto the bars and shaking them. If you could have looked into these animals' eyes, I'm seeing some thumbs, like we did, you would have seen deep sadness. It is this sadness that continues to haunt me to this day. Sawyer, I think your thumb was up first. What did you notice?
They're shaking the bars.
Okay, so we have that they kept in the cages, they were grabbing onto the bars and shaking them. Okay? How would you annotate this text? What would you write in the white space? Somebody help him out? What could we write in the white space? Olivia?
First hashtag we did.
So you think we could hashtag it, mental illness? What do you think, Sawyer? You think that would be a good idea? Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to put that and go ahead and do mental illness hashtag. Okay, let's continue. It has been documented that Junior, a killer whale, was removed from his natural habitat in Iceland and placed in a tank in Niagara Falls. He died 4 years later, deprived of outside sunlight and companionship. Sophia, what do you notice?
That he got taken out of his natural habitat, so he wasn't happy there.
Okay, so I heard you say taken out of his natural habitat. So he's removed from his habitat. Okay, what happened to Junior? Terry, what happened to Junior?
He died.
He died. Why did he die?
Because he had no companionship, and that he was in a habitat that didn't give enough space.
Okay, so how could we annotate this? How could we annotate this text? Adrian, what do you think? Can somebody help him out? Jalen? Say it again. Okay, so you're not going to hashtag it mental illness, are you? All right, does everybody see that? This is shifted, right? Does anybody have an idea? Jalen suggested that we hashtag it animal abuse. Okay, anybody have any other suggestions? Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so notice, now I have another hashtag. This could possibly be another main idea, depending on how many facts I have to support it. I'm going to read on and give me a thumbs up if you see something else I can add that's important. Junior is not alone. There are many aquatic animals that are taken from their natural habitats and placed in water tanks in aquariums around the world. Olivia, you have a thumb up? Okay, so we're talking about aquatic animals taken from their natural habitats. Did you see that echo between these two? That's what they talked about up here. Okay, let me read on. And placed in water tanks and aquariums around the world. These animals are separated from their families. That's important. And are forced to live in groups that are nothing like their own families. Okay, so notice when we talked about Junior, they were talking about how he didn't have enough sunlight, he didn't have enough space or companionship. Now we're talking about the environment what they're living in is that they're not living in the same families. So how could we annotate this? Zachary, what do you think? Can we give this a hashtag? What would you give it? Okay, so you're saying that these facts should stick together, right? Animal abuse. Okay, so today you learned that you can annotate the text as you're reading. You can use your hashtags to make facts stick together and possibly inspire a main idea for your essay. So today when you go back to your seats during the work time, I would like you to look at your wolves text set, and I want you to apply the same strategy to your wolves. Now, you may have already read those articles, but I want you to go and I want you to practice this to it and see what kind of a difference it makes in your note-taking. Okay, annotate the text. Now, I've placed on the champs up here, your activity is to annotate your wolves text set, then to plan your essay on your planning sheet, and then if you get that far and you've planned your essay, then go ahead and begin writing. Remember that our task and our purpose today is to write long and strong, which means we write for the entire work period. Now, during the work period, I'm going to call a few of you back for a conference. So if I call your name, if you could bring your writing conference sheet, which is this one right here, back to me to the table. Keep that out, Carol, okay? Any questions before you go back to work? Question? Okay, go ahead and move back to your seats, please, and begin working.
What if you're already done with your plan?
Excuse me?
What if you're already done with your plan?
I want you to go back and apply the strategy, okay?